back for you again today. And as I mentioned earlier, I am actually in a bit of pain, which it's starting to ease up thanks to this good old barbecue sauce that I'll be telling you guys more about. But Princess P is going to be doing all of the cooking today.
I am.
So what are you whipping up, Princess P?
So it's Tuesday, so I figured we should have a Taco Tuesday. And it's
But
been
of course.
a little too long, and that hadn't happened. So
Yes.
I actually am just doing veggie tacos today because I definitely have a lot of people that are vegetarian and vegans that watch the show. So
Yes, we have lots of vegan friends.
last
Shout out
time
to
it
our
was like
vegan-
everything with like butter and all that, so I figured today it would be like a little on the lighter side.
Cool beans.
So, I'm infusing with olive oil in the saute pan with the veggies. I'm just gonna wait on the pan to heat up. But on the plate, I've got some zucchini, some onions, some red pepper, and some garlic. And so I'm just gonna saute that in the pan once it heats up with infused olive oil. So that's how I'm infusing the meal, is in olive oil in the skillet.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
Do you have to have the skillet at like a certain temperature to preserve the cannabinoids, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, so generally speaking, you don't want to have the temp anything over like, 190 or something like that for any extended period of time. And I'm actually going to put them in there before I put the oil, like to kind of get them started, with nothing in the pan, just to like save on for one thing, to save on the amount of oil that I need, and two, to preserve the cannabinoids that are in it. So this is actually I was just really doing this for demonstration for people to show them options, but generally speaking, I find that sauteing anything with like canna oil or whatever to be like the least potent form of like edibles.
Exactly.
Because you do lose cannabinoids.
You're definitely gonna lose cannabinoids.
Right, and so I had actually debated whether I was just gonna infuse the little sauce that I'm making for the top, because that's what I usually do, is infusing the syrups and infusing whatever. Right. But I figured people want to know all the ways that they can do it, so I figured I'd show them.
Yeah, sounds like a winning plan to me.
Yeah. So I actually remember those filters that I was telling you about, those really cool filters for the tincture. So
yes.
I tested it on the olive oil that I had. Remember, because last time I had it in the big brand bottle or whatever. Look at that. There's literally no plant matter in comparison. So yeah, I strongly recommend these filters.
Do you remember which micron filter it was?
They're 190, but they're on a paper filter, and they look like a tube, what's the thing? You know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the word. They're funnel. That's the word.
That's
like a
it.
funnel. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's like a funnel that you put through, and then you run it through there, and it really does a really good job of getting all the plant matter for tincture and oil and all that. So
yeah, do you guys see this? Look at this. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, there's the tiniest bit of plant matter at the very bottom, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's unheard of for olive oil.
Yeah,
so
really, really great.
Yeah, so definitely recommend getting some of those if you're going to be making things on a semi-regular basis. The temperature, though, as far as for your individual stove, is going to vary. For this one, it's a hot plate, so I'm turning it up a little higher than I would at home on my gas stove. On my gas stove, it's probably not going to go above a 3 or a 4. It's the little number ones. But on here, I've got it up a little higher because I'm trying to let the skillet heat up.
Okay, cool beans. So, I can say that a few, since we're talking about different methods, and I did say that I would be sharing a few of my little cooking tips. So I found that I make different things different ways.
Right.
So I do have a method of making an olive oil without decarbing, just because the olive oil takes such a much higher temperature.
So you just do it for longer in the oil?
Right. So I know I actually, I process the oil at roughly about 160 degrees all the way through. And then that way, when I go to cook and I am using those higher temperatures, I'm not burning off as much of the cannabinoids.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's you're decarbing while cooking.
you're cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. I've never tested that, but I can see why, from a scientific standpoint, that would work.
Exactly. So patience, I just want you guys to know that you can create a medium, which is your oil, whether it be coconut oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, or whatever, without decarbing, and then allow the oil to decarb during the cooking process. but you still want to watch your temps, and you really don't ever want to go over 220 if you're going to use that process.
Right, and to be honest, you can always use regular oil, like regular olive oil, and then just like right before it's done, drizzle in oil, which is another thing I considered doing, but figured we'd try to show all methods of doing this over a period of time, so.
Exactly.
But like personally, if I was making this for like myself at home, I would use probably like a regular coconut oil or something that's not infused, or like butter to saute this, and then I would like right at the very end drizzle infused oil over it and let it cook for like just a second. So
yeah. And that's the most recommended way, guys, just
for
so
sure.
that because the purpose of us even creating these oils with our medicine is to one, get a different effect. Two, to also, for many people, it's a great way to save money and to stretch their medicine and make it last a lot longer. So we really want you guys to know like the best way for the medicine to be the most effective using the smallest amount.
For sure. For sure. And actually, when I've recommended that people want to cook with olive oil, I like infused oil, I usually tell them to like, what's the word? Like water it down with more oil, because when you're cooking, you can get really heavy-handed with oil and not realize it. So if it's a little bit watered down with like more, like, you know, if you took equal parts infused olive oil and regular olive oil, you'd probably be better off as far as like, because I know I'm not the only one who's heavy-handed with oil.
I think that's why in Canna cooking it's very, very imperative to always use your measurements. Use your measuring cups, your measuring spoons.
For sure.
So that you know exactly what you're doing and how much of your medicine that you're putting into these dishes. And that way you're going to get the best effect out of it. You know what I mean? It's a lot better to get just what you need than to constantly over-medicate and always waking up like, what happened again? Which is what most of us kind of experience after over-medicating.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, that's debatable.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think...
I mean, you don't really... I mean,
count.
it's more psychological than, like, physical. But, yeah, and I could see that just one... It depends, you know, very much depending on the person. But, for sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so you guys will have probably seen me, like, just use the oil and kind of eyeball the amount. I'm doing that for the demo, like, because, you know what I mean? Like, I do this every day, so, like, I generally know, like, how much I'm using.
Yeah.
But when you're at home and you're trying to get very specific doses, because remember everything I'm making, too, everything we make is very mild on the, like, dosing standpoint for the amount of servings that it serves. So if you're at home and you're using it as medicine, you definitely need to be very precise with the amounts that you use, because if you have a bad time or, you know, like a bad experience, you need to know how much you were using for that so that you can alter it more accurately the next time.
Right.
So I'm gonna season these vegetables. This is just like a homemade taco seasoning that I make, and it's cumin, chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, and seasoned salt. So
Did you roast your cumin?
I did not. I just used powdered cumin, but you meant like the seeds?
Yeah, I highly recommend, if you guys can get it, go to the store, grab some fresh cumin seeds, and you want to pop them in the oven for roughly about 10 minutes. And you're going to know when to take them out, because they're going to let off this beautiful, beautiful aroma. It is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Right. I'm not a big fan of the like coriander and the cumin seeds or whatever, but like it's very heavily used in like Middle Eastern and South Asian cooking.
Yes.
And so I actually lived after college with a group of like 6 people from Nepal and Bangladesh. And so like they use cumin seeds a lot, and they made a big thing about how you have to toast those types of herbs like star anise and cinnamon sticks and like all that. So they would like toast everything and then grind it all together. But yeah, there's something about the coriander seeds and the cumin seeds or whatever. Like I don't even really like rosemary that much, and like dried rosemary. I think it's something about like the twiggy herbs, like it does something for me like texturally that I just don't like. It's never the taste, it's the texture. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like there's a stick in my mouth or something, you know?
Well, you're not supposed to eat the herb. It's not edible, lady.
Right, but like, you know, when it's in like a biryani or something, like there's big giant like toasted things in there. So now that I've
push them to the side.
right.
some of those
I have
things,
picked them all out, and you know how hard that
Like-
is, but I will do it.
literally, like for instance, see, this is why we talk about food, guys, because no, the stem of the rosemary plant is not digestible by our system.
Right. It just doesn't taste good either. So,
Yep. Exactly. So, I would say a lot of times when you're using fresh herbs like that, it's really great to make a quid. So a quid is simply getting your cheesecloth, and you want to get some cheesecloth and your twine. You put your fresh herbs inside, and hold on, I should have bought some with me. I'll do a quid demo for you guys next week. But basically, so you create the quid, and then after you're finished cooking, you can simply take out the cheesecloth, and the herbs are retained within the cheesecloth.
so I'm going to turn these down just a little bit so they can kind of continue to cook. But I'm going to...
Smell pretty delicious
smell good.
over here.
So I'm going to turn that down just to kind of let it cook down a little bit more before I add the oil.
Okay.
So far, this has been cooked without any oil at all. So I was going for like a healthier, infused meal. So there we go. So I'm going to make a little sauce that you can put on the tacos. So I am totally eyeballing this. So you're going to want to do this to taste of how you like it. If you like it spicier, maybe use more of this or more seasoning. You can totally like mix and match this around as you want. So I've got some sour cream. I got light sour cream because that's just like what I prefer, but you can use any kind of sour cream. Even the tofuti or whatever it is, the vegan one, you can use that. So I've got some sour cream.
And for our non-dairy people, guacamole, or
Yeah.
avocado.
For sure.
Makes a great alternative.
For sure. Soy yogurt, avocado, like there's plenty of other things. This is another one. This is the Hellman's Organic Spicy Chipotle Mayo. If you're vegan, Just Mayo by Hampton Creek, they make a spicy chipotle vegan mayonnaise that doesn't have eggs, so you can totally use that instead. Or just omit it altogether if you don't want to use it, but I just like the flavor. So I'm basically going to try to do about equal parts of this. It's going to be kind of like a crema mixed with an aioli taste is what I'm going for.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, will you be infusing that, Miss P?
I am not, because I'm infusing the veggies. I opted to leave this not infused. So I'm going to use a little bit of the taco seasoning that I used on the veggies. I'm going to use just a little bit of that on there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to squeeze a wedge of lime. And if this isn't enough, I'll squeeze another one. But
It's gonna take us off the ledge, lady. You're gonna take us off the ledge. That's what good food does, though. Good food can make you feel like you're going off the
outside
ledge.
of like baking, I really hate measuring. Like I just really think that because even like spaghetti sauce, for example, that's to me, I can make spaghetti sauce every single week, and every single time there's going to probably be a slight variation in how much of this I use, because the meat might taste different that day, or I might not be using meat at all, or whatever. So I'm really all about the eyeballing things. Right, baking, you absolutely have to be precise, or you don't.
Do. Literally. Throwing one small thing off during baking, the entire meal.
Let's taste this. See what I was going for there? Like the aioli crossed with a crema. Do you think it needs more of the taco seasoning, maybe?
I would say more seasoning.
And the lime, and more lime. A little bit.
We could do that.
Lime and any other kind of citrus is just so good at
Want to make it have that
intense flavors, and taking something that would initially taste really rich into tasting really light and refreshing. So I love using citrus and everything.
That works. So while she's doing that, I just wanted to share a very interesting fact while we were talking about vegan cooking and eggs. So one of the things that I've been studying more of is how to create more vegan dishes that are a almost exact replica of what we eat every day. So in doing that, I started to research where some of these vegan. I'm a big, huge researcher when it comes to everything I do, especially my food. I want to know everything about it, where it comes from, how it's created, and all of that. So for me, I wanted to know where they got vegan eggs. Like I thought that was like so weird. Like what is a vegan egg? So it turns out that in the industry, a vegan egg is actually just the egg white. They take the egg and they just separate it with just the whites. So because it's only the whites, it's considered vegan because it's not the actual chicken.
I think that would have to be like a very person specific thing because I was a vegetarian for 5 years and a vegan for 3 of those, and like if I knew that an egg like by a company was like considered vegan but it had any product of the egg in it, like I wouldn't have eaten it. So it depends what kind of vegan someone is. If they're an ethical vegan, there's no way. You know what I mean? Because to them, consuming any of the animal is like completely unethical. But if it was a dietary vegan, they'd probably be like, sure. You know what I mean? So there's different variations.
Well, no, the thing is, it's not the vegan that's making the choice. It's the manufacturer who's creating the product. And that, because it's not required by the FDA, it's not necessarily disclosed on the product. Exactly.
Oh.
It's not disclosed on the product, the source of how they created this vegan egg.
For sure. So, fun fact, whenever people really talk about, if they want to get real hardcore vegan, people love to talk about like how Oreos are vegan and stuff like that. Anything on the shelves that has any kind of processed or refined sugar, there is a refinery process where they actually put animal bone char into the refiner with the sugar and flour. So nothing that contains processed flour or sugar is technically vegan if you want to get real like down to the details about it.
That's not...
Right.
Yeah,
And there's
like
really
eggs.
no right. Like most people have really no idea what they're really eating, like
Exactly.
any given day.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add some oil. I'm probably gonna. I don't know. I'm going between 1 to 2.5 tablespoons. So.
And dosage wise, what about what dosage would that be?
So, based on that, so by the tablespoon. So, each tablespoon comes out in this bottle to be about 35 milligrams. So, each 2 tablespoons would be 70 milligrams. So, hypothetically, I don't know if 7 people eat tacos from this, but if 7 people ate tacos, then it'd be 10 milligrams. But like I said, so this is much milder on the like scope of,
And I know many people are probably wondering like, well, what does 10 milligrams actually mean? Well, according to research again, the average person, 40 milligrams is considered a euphoric dose. So basically that's the threshold of saying you're gonna know you're high at about 40 milligrams. So at 10 milligrams, you may get a buzz, and for some of us, we may not feel it. So when she says that it's mild, it's very, very mild.
It's very mild. I wouldn't feel it at all. So it's actually really interesting to me when people come out to the show and they get samples, and then they're like, girl, I was so high. And I'm like, were you really? Like,
I know, like, exactly. Like, how did that happen?
Were you really? Oh, that's amazing. Let me have what you have. You know what I mean? Like, let me go back to those days. You guys all remember those days, right? The like one hit off of that like Reggie that you got from like your friend's brother that like, would make you so high you couldn't function.
That's what edibles was like for me. When I started making edibles, man, I think I floated through the entire first year. Like, it was just like, wow, so like you really can get high like your very first time all over again?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it was the coolest thing ever. Oh my gosh. Like, and then my first dab. So my first dab, it was like a total
I have a first dab experience too.
Ride.
Let's tell stories.
Yeah, let's tell stories because I definitely have a first dab story.
Yes,
So let me hear your first dab. Yeah.
So I had my first dab at, I don't even remember. The party was like so lit, like we were like super uber high. Like we were there for like an hour and a half and we thought we had been there for 10 hours. Like we seriously came outside thinking it was dark. And so like we're running to the car and yeah, we hadn't been there literally but an hour and a half. But like that first initial dab hit, like when I say like I went on the dopest roller coaster ride.
Oh.
Man, King's a million and nobody has anything on that. I'm top man too. Yeah.
I hear you. So my first dab, I stopped using any kind of cannabis at all for like 4.5, almost 5 years. So like this point, I had been starting to smoke again for like 3 months. So this is how long, y'all, I was buying like a gram at a time. Like and it was lasting me like a week or two. Like that's where I was at. Super new user, right?
Yeah.
Right. So Big Worm comes and picks me up one day and he's like, hey, I got a friend and he's got wax and he's like, want to go take a dab? And I'm thinking, what the fuck is a dab, right? Like I have no idea what he's talking about. So here I go drive out here into like the middle of nowhere to go to somebody's house that I don't even know. And he gives me this dab. And like now in hindsight, I realize that he gave me like a fucking champ dab, but I didn't know that. So I had no idea how much to smoke. So I'm just sitting here like blowing it out and breathing it in again and blowing it out and breathing it in again. So then I start coughing, could not stop coughing for almost 20 minutes. And then I just sat there and I'm surrounded by people I don't know. I was so fucking high. I did not talk for 5 hours.
Oh my
Literally,
gosh.
Ron had to go, or Big Worm had to go do something with his kid, and he literally like had to not because he had to babysit me because I could not move or talk. I just sat there like staring out the window of his car. Like I think we drove around for a while, but I pretty much was like, I will never touch these things ever again in my life. Who enjoys this? Like so.
Like, why would you ever?
Right, like I was like, who the fuck? And then when the first time we came up and saw the Phone Homie show, and he's taking these like massive dabs, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, I mean, so, you know, yeah, I can so empathize with people that are like new to the community because honestly, 3 years ago, so was I. So like, I very much empathize and understand with those feelings.
Really, really evolved in 3 years.
For sure.
Wow.
So I'm gonna plate one up actually so that I can show like how it looks like as a completed thing.
Yes. Sounds good. So.
Or like just my first random stories or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm super down for that. Or get anybody who's watching on Facebook Live, if you have a really good first dab. I don't have my phone so I can't see the chat at all, but like if anybody's asking any questions, I will go check the comments later and we'll make sure that they get answered.
Yes.
And next time I'll be better prepared and have my tablet with me so I can see the comments. But if you have a first dab story that's like really good, leave it in the comments and we'll read it next week.
Or a really great, dope first edible story. Considering we're doing cooking. Hey, I've heard some really, really funny stories from the
we're
edibles.
doing this real quickly. Well, I'm only going to do this because I feel like he deserves to be dogged out. Come here, you. Anthony Oakes. I gave his first dab, was it 2 weeks ago?
It was like 3 weeks ago.
It was like 3 weeks ago, and I didn't know that he had never done a dab before. I was just like, yes, of course, because I didn't.
He didn't tell me like how to pull. I'm thinking like a blunt or a bong maybe.
No, he took a full.
So I was
He
like-
took a champ dab. Long story short, he was in the back coughing for like an hour,
Literally.
and then had to go home.
And I couldn't talk. And I felt like I was high, so I felt like Jeremy was kicking me out of the office. So I was like, where am I gonna?
So he was like sitting in the back alley.
And my legs didn't work.
No, they didn't. No, they
Literally
didn't.
Floating.
Oh,
That's when you ask
and silent, and you were dead
I
silent.
couldn't talk. I
the
couldn't
plate.
speak. I couldn't speak. I couldn't catch my breath. I was coughing for literally an hour. My legs, I couldn't feel my legs. I felt like I was floating like Space Ghost. It was very unfortunate, and I blame you.
Yes.
Well, real quickly, I got my first dab from Phone Homie, who's the show on Sundays.
Is he akin to E.T.? Phone homie?
Well, that's where it comes from. And anyways, long story short, he told me that, just try this stuff. It's called a dab. But he didn't say dab. He said like wax, and he made it sound like
Fancy,
not a big deal.
Right.
Of course, he gave it to me in a 3-foot high bubbler rig. Of all the sweat,
Seriously, something wrong with him.
all of the sweat in my entire body came out all at one time. I then had to drive to work 10 minutes. I don't recall the drive. I don't know how I got to work. And then I got home. I don't recall any of the day.
Yes.
Thank you, Phone Homie.
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I'm gonna plate one up real quick. If you want to keep talking while I.
Yeah. So like the dabs are like so cool. Like one thing about dabbing, you have to understand that it's not smoke, it's a vapor. So you wanna kind of go ahead and exhale really quickly. Like anything more than 10 seconds. of inhaling a dabbing, you're pretty much harming your lungs. And many people actually pass out from dabbing because they deprive their oxygen of brain. I mean, man, I am high.
Girl, I hear you.
Okay, so listen, I've been medicating, guys. Of course, like I said, I was in quite a bit of pain earlier. My fibromyalgia was acting up, and I just had to keep it going. So I popped me 2 Canna caps, but I didn't want to wait for that to like work. So I was wanting to eat. So now I have me some chicken, thank you, cheers, and some delicious infused barbecue sauce that we'll be putting on the grill at the next barbecue carnival.
So I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not, but we'll do it on the screen for sure. But so that's just generally how it's plated, with like lettuce and tomato and the veggies underneath it, and that's the sauce on top. On our table, I've also got some cheese and some taco sauce and some pineapple salsa. You can totally put that on there too. Pretty much whatever. I feel like building a taco is like building a salad. You should do what you like. If you like cilantro, I think it's the worst thing in the entire world. But if you enjoy cilantro, then you throw some cilantro on it.
Yeah, cilantro, it makes the Mexican and Mexican.
There's actually, like, I read a whole thing online. I mean, you know, I'm not 100% sure it's true, but I'm just gonna go like it is. So, but that there's like a certain, like, there's certain people who genuinely taste cilantro differently than everybody else, and that it tastes like soap to them, and it tastes like soap to me. So, like, yeah, I read that there was this whole thing about people that don't like cilantro, that there's like reasons that they don't.
You think it could be an enzyme thing?
I'm not sure. They're what? A super taster. So I'm not wrong. It was like a gene or something that makes it taste wrong. Right. So I knew I wasn't crazy.
Right,
it's an actual thing. But so to me, I can't stand it. It's like so overpowering that it like literally overpowers the entire dish. So like I just can't. But anyway, so that's it. Who in the audience wants this one? Anybody? Somebody want it?
Tacos going around.
Give it to you. Want some regular salsa on that too, or you just want the sauce? I got taco sauce. I got cheese.
Yes, let's whip
All right.
it up.
So I think that's pretty much it today.
Yeah, so like, what are we cooking next week? I was thinking
We should
do
debate.
some really
Somebody
cool
should leave
Asian-
some comments about what they think we should cook next week.
Yeah, what do you guys
So,
want us to cook,
yeah.
guys? Lots of fun things to do.
Is it good, B-Dub? Different types of what?
We just did
Pizza?
pizza recently.
Well,
We
she did pizza recently, but there's also a problem with cooking the pizza. Like it would be hard. Do you have an oven or something?
Yeah, I used the new way, but remember the new way broke. They haven't sent me a new one yet. Well, no, I had the new way, and it does everything. But remember, it broke. I'm waiting for them to send me a new one. Yeah, it malfunctioned or something.
But
So no pizza.
does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Giselle.
I'm gonna keep plating tacos then, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Shout out to Giselle. Giselle has been one of our very, very dedicated volunteers. She's worked with many, many institutions within the cannabis community and assisting us from advocacy to just giving patient support. So shout out, Giselle.
Okay. I don't think any of it's super spicy. I try to keep it pretty, like, it's not spicy, yeah. It's got like a little flavor, but it's not like overpowering, right? So that's
So we got it going on, man. We got it going on. So come on down and get your samples. Yeah, that's I'm over here.
But you are welcome. You can put whatever sauce.
Sausage.
There's pineapple salsa.
We have food. Oh, so this is my infused barbecue sauce. Oh, that thing mean. See, I want to share right, but it's too good. It's like, no. Try some. Let me try some.
You want one on there? tacos is like if you have a big, are we still live? Yep.
Yep.
So a good thing about tacos is if you have a big family or a party that you have to do or anything, you can use so much less like main product to make more things. Like I have been poor for a long time, so I know that if you take a quarter pound of hamburger meat or turkey meat or whatever, you can turn that into like 5 or 6 servings of tacos.
A quarter. Girl, you're full of magic.
I'm telling you. And then like you can cut that with some mushrooms, like add mushrooms instead of extra meat.
Now, I have heard of many people doing that. Mushrooms definitely do serve as a good meat replacement.
What sauce do you want on it? You want the sauce I made, or you want the pineapple sauce or the taco sauce?
Can't have any of the 3.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take it plain.
Okay.
Oh no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll take the next one. I can't do tomato either.
Okay.
No tomato for me. I'm sorry, yes, I told you guys I have a bougie belly.
You can do lettuce.
I have a yes, I have a bougie belly. It don't act right. So now you guys know how I became a chef when at the end of the day you have to tell people, no, I can't have that and do it like this. You know what they told you? To do it your damn self. Yeah.
This one's Renee's, and then I got it. Yeah. She needed one without tomatoes.
Oh yeah, you know she fancy. She don't do all that.
See? See how they talk about me?
Hey, you know,
Say what's up, Chef Eddie. Chef Eddie about to be back on the grill this Friday. We need some burgers. Oh yeah. Need some burgers.
No, we do chicken. Only chicken.
Only chicken.
Salmon. I love salmon.
Yes.
Tilapia.
Sounds like we're having some
Like, I'm real
salmon
weird about
and
seafood, like,
chicken on that
sometimes I
grill.
like-
Hey baby.
I think it's more that I'm
Come
weird about
on
shellfish than I am about seafood. I feel like I'm gonna bring one out to the
Thank you. Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay.
You can put whatever sauce you want.
Perfect. I got it. So we'll talk the title. See, look, cake orders coming in, and we need cupcake, and we need candy, and we have lollipops. Hi guys. Live and direct in the studio. See all of our amazing friends.
There's 3 different sauces right there.
We got that good.
All right,
Good. Say
there's
hi,
one more left.
everybody.
There's only one left, guys. Who wants it? You're so welcome. They're all gone.
They're really getting into this vegan life.
I tell people every week when they go fast. Here you go. There's 3 different sauces right there.
I think it's only right. There's a barbecue sauce.
Right, we had those big. That's why, like, I'm not even worried that I didn't get to eat it. I'm like, I just had this big lunch like an hour ago. So,
Oh man.
okay, so we're all done.
Oh yeah. Thank this taco.
Ooh, that's probably good. I used to go to this taco place in Richmond. They had like a truck. They would go to the farmer's market, right? And they had this one taco that was like pulled chicken with like this garlic aioli and a barbecue sauce on it. It was so good. Like it was in coleslaw instead of like lettuce and tomato. It was so good. This is another one of those recipes where like, somebody doesn't like cookies. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot easier to like get them to want to eat this. You know what I mean?
Hi, Roy. Hey, Audra. Yeah, Audra. Be thick to see ya.
That bullshit, man. You ain't been to see it. You don't love us no more. Gotta come get you.
Yeah, Audra. Nick, come on down the road and here I come.
One leg up.
Are we still live, guys?
Yeah.
Need a commercial break. We need a commercial break and we trying to play some Jeezy. Go get us. We doing it for the head. Yes. Please some Jeezy in the building. And yes. No, we can't say the rest of it. It don't go without vibes.
Is anybody else gonna be here for the next like 30 minutes? Like is anybody like a guest? Okay.
No, seven.
Okay. I just want to let this cool completely before I try to put it back in the bag.
Look, I'll just say, come get her, black man. It's gone. Get your act right on.
Our transportation is set up.
Okay. And we working on it, Audra. You better get your pack your bag.